Welcome to video 19. If you look at our to-do list, you'll notice we're a little over halfway through the list of items I wanted to cover in this course. I'm hoping that I'll be able to wrap up this course in probably about 10 to 12 more videos. So thanks for sticking with me so far. The next item on our to-do list is to create the cart object so items can be added to our shopping cart. And the first step in the process that I'm going to handle is I'm going to set up the HTML that's going to show in the cart page. So I'm going to open up vPublicHome first, and I'm going to copy all the content within this file. Then I'm going to move over to vPublicCart and paste it in place. And I can delete everything with the exception of the H2 and the unordered list for the get alert. And in the H2, I'm going to put in shopping cart. And below the alerts functionality, I'm going to add a form. It's going to have an action of blank, which means it'll just refresh the page when someone submits the form. And it's going to have a method of post. And inside this form, I'm going to have an unordered list, and each row in this form will be a list item. So the first list item is going to be our header row that's going to indicate the specific columns that are in our cart. So I'm going to add a class of header row. And within that, I'm going to have a div with a class of call1. And this is going to be product name. I'll do a div with a class of call2. This will be quantity. Then I'll do a div with class call3. It'll be price. And finally, div with a class of call4. And this will be total price. So that'll finish off our header row. Then next, we're going to need to have actual items in this cart. And like I did with previous videos, I'm going to set this up with a static example first, make sure we do the HTML and the CSS to style things correctly, and then I'm going to go back in and actually work on the PHP. So this next bit is temporary, and we're going to actually use PHP to generate the list of items that are in the cart. But we're going to have a list item. We're basically going to duplicate these items, so I'm simply going to copy and paste. And let me add some extra space in the file so I can scroll this page up. Okay, so we have call1, and let's just say this is the beach toys item. For call2, that's the quantity. And if you remember from our little demo that I showed you at the beginning of this course, I want to be able to easily change and update the number of each specific item in the cart. So in this particular case, I'm going to have input. I'm going to give it a name. I'm just going to call it product. I'm going to give it a value. It's just going to hold 1. And I'll close off that input. So that'll give us a little text box indicating that we have one beach toy in our shopping cart. And the next item is going to be price, which is going to be $8.99. And then total price. And since we only have one item in our cart, it'll just be $8.99 again. Now that we have a product in our cart, at least in the HTML, we're going to also have a couple other rows. We're going to have a row for subtitle. That'll give a class of subtitle row. And we're going to have div class call1. And this is going to say subtitle. Div class call2. And that's going to have the value, in this case is $8.99. And then below the subtitle row, it's going to be a pretty similar structure, so I'm going to copy and paste. Below that is going to be a row for shipping cost. So it'll be shipping row. And we're just going to say this shipping cost is, let's say, $2. And then below the shipping row, we're also going to have an item for taxes. So that's going to be taxes row. And we're going to have a tax, and we're going to be able to set this up so you can assign a flat rate tax to all the items in your store. And this is going to be temporary, but in my case, in California, tax rate is 8.75%. So. And a tax on that is going to be 79 cents. And finally, last item in this unordered list, we're going to have a row for the final total. So I'm going to call it total row. Total. And the complete total is going to be 1178. So we have that all set up. Let's close out the unordered list. Before the closing tag on the form, I'm going to have a div, and this is going to have a class of button row. And this isn't included within the other list items because we have to position it specially. And I'll talk about that more when we get to the CSS portion, probably in the next video. But within this button row, we're going to have two items. We're going to have a link. It's going to have a class of button small, SML. It's going to have an href, and it's going to have a question mark and empty. This will be the link that if you click on it, it'll empty our shopping cart. So basically, this refreshes the page, adds empty to the URL, and our PHP is going to be used to catch that and empty the shopping cart. So this link is going to say empty cart. I'm going to close off the link. And I'm going to have an input type. It's going to be submit. Name is going to be submit. Class is going to be button alt. And value is going to be update cart. And this is going to be the button that gets clicked when a user goes in. Maybe they change the number of items they want to purchase, and then they click update cart, and it refreshes the cart and updates all the prices and information. Now after this form, we're going to actually have another form, and I'm going to leave the action blank like the other one for the moment. We'll come back to this. And the method is going to be post. And you might be a little confused why we're going to have two forms on this page. And that's because we need one form to be able to submit information to PayPal. We have to have another form to be able to choose how many items are in our shopping cart. So I know it's a little bit confusing. We'll be discussing it more once we actually get to the PHP portion, and you'll see it in action. But just follow along for now, and you'll see what I mean in a bit. Now within this form, I'm going to have a div with a class of submit row. You'll note that I'm trying to keep all my class names pretty consistent. It's a little easier for me to understand what they are. And then just for now, I'm going to have input. Type is going to be submit. Name is going to be submit to. Actually, you know what? Why don't I do this? I'll name this one submit, and I'll name the previous submit button update, just so we're a little bit clearer. So like that, and then class of button, and a value, I'm going to say pay with PayPal. Like so. And that'll take care of all the basic HTML that our shopping cart's going to use. So if you go to our shopping cart page, we actually need to hook up the view, so it won't show just yet. Let me go to index.php. Let me grab, what are we going to need? I think I'll just grab the entire context of my index.php for a moment. Let's go to cart.php. I'll paste it in place. And for the moment, all we need is the template load. So we load our view. And in this case, it's going to be v public cart. And I'll change the title. It's going to be shopping cart. And I'll set the page class to be cart. There we go. And it looks like I'm not following a best practice accidentally. I need to make sure that we don't have any closing PHP tags, because this is just a PHP file. So let me double check and make sure. Let me fix that in my index.php. And let's see if it's the same in product. Nope, product is fine. Okay. There we go. So doesn't look pretty just yet, but we'll come back and we'll style things and make sure everything looks great in the next video.